Hello Movie Mavens, welcome back to another video on the B Movies channel. My name is Bailey and I put the B in movies. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. I just want to go ahead and say up top, I am not feeling super hot today. Those who have periods, if you feel me, I am cramping horribly. So if it's a little bit lower energy than usual, that's what's shaking. I did not get a lot of sleep last night. There was a lot of tossing and turning, an electric blanket. You get the gist. Yeah, tell 'em Pudge. So apologies if it's a little more low energy than usual. But yeah, I hope the rest of you, I hope you're having a wonderful week. Besides this, it hasn't been too bad on my front. Just doing some research for some upcoming pieces. I'm excited. I'm going to do a double feature at the movies on Sunday of Intruders and Love Lies Bleeding, so super stoked for that. And so I hope that you have something exciting to look forward to. And for today's Bailey Babbles, I want to talk about Ryan Gosling's I'm Just Kidding Oscar performance. I think he's hot again. I know, like, I was in college from 2010 to 2014, so like that was a peak Ryan Gosling, like feminist Ryan Gosling, the Ryan Gosling memes, Crazy Stupid Love, Blue Valentine, like the wave of the Rygos was when I was in college. And something about his little pink gloves, like, have me fumbling for my ticket to jump back on the Rygos train, man. God help us all that I am now. I feel like Brittany Broski with like her White Man of the Week. I feel like Ryan Gosling is back into my fold of men that I think are super hot. So I think it was the little pink gloves, the little C word pink gloves, since we're on YouTube, if you catch my drift. And so yeah, I thought it was wonderful. I definitely think I agree with everyone that it was the highlight of the Oscars. We are not going to talk about how Oppenheimer swept and how Christopher Nolan won Best Director, because I will truly rant myself into oblivion. We've talked about I am not a Christopher Nolan fan, and just looking at all the other movies that were nominated, I don't think so. I don't think so. I just have a lot of thoughts about it. But the one good thing, well, one of the good things that came out, also, if you did not see the dog, I think his name's pronounced Messy, the dog from Snoop from Anatomy of a Fall. How they like pre-recorded him fake clapping, and he was at the Oscars, and he's just a precious sweet baby, and I love him, so I very much appreciated that, and Ryan Gosling. But other than that, I have a lot of very hot takes. On the winners, we all know I was pulling for Lily Gladstone to win Best Actress. I love Emma Stone. Poor Things was one of my favorite movies of last year, but I think Lily Gladstone deserved it. I'm sorry. I love Emma Stone. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, so that's where we are. I will spare you all of my Christopher Nolan Oppenheimer ranting. And yeah, just if you've not watched Ryan Gosling's Oscar performance 19,000 times like I have, do it. Because I love it, and all aboard the Rygos train again. And like I said, God help us all that now we've added him back into the fold of actors that I think are super hot. So I think that will wrap up the Bailey Babbles for today. And so let's go ahead and hop into our blog roundup. If you are new around here, the B Movies channel is a continuation of the B Movies blog, which you can find over at bmovies.blog. Always linked in the description box below. And we release pieces Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can subscribe to get those sent directly to your inbox. If not, they will always be up around 10. Sometimes WordPress gets a little wonky. I have to like nudge it a little bit and be like, hey dog, remember this post is scheduled, but it's always around 10 a.m. CST. So this week over on the B Movies blog, you can find, on Monday we talked about Adam Wingard, did a spotlight. You're Next, the first two VHSs. I like Blair Witch. I know a lot of people didn't. I do. Nothing will ever be as good as the first Blair Witch Project, right? And like, I'm even an apologist for Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2. I actually really like that movie. But I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is. And the guest, You're Next, he's just directed all of these really cool iconic horror movies, and so we gave him a little spotlight. On Tuesday, we talked about horror musicals. I'm a musical girly. I love horror movies. What could be better than, horror movies where people are singing? And these are like Anna and the Apocalypse, the lore, everything in that vein. And so next up we have, on Wednesday we talked about underrated movies, ? I watch so much stuff and I watch so much content, and so many of my friends are movie people. So this is, and I talk about this in the piece, I'm like, I feel kind of pretentious because I'm like, these may or may not be underrated. I don't really know, but here are just some good horror movies that you may have not seen before. And so please know, I did not mean that to insult anyone. Y'all know, and y'all have read the content that I watch. So like it's a glass house, and stone situation where I'm never going to judge what people watch. So I hope that y'all enjoy those movies. Yesterday, I rewatched the first 3 episodes of The Secret Life of the American Teenager, so you don't have to. I do a lot of research. I subject myself to a lot. If we remember, I've watched the Fast and Furious, all of them, which they're very fun. But this was rough, y'all. Those first 3 episodes even were rough. So please enjoy, and please enjoy my misery yet again. And then today, which will also be our deep dive, it's the newest edition of Lights, Camera, Albums for Miley Cyrus's Plastic Hearts. Again, y'all love these pieces always. It's the series that does the best over on the blog, and so as long as y'all keep reading them, we'll keep writing them. So just to recap, over on the Movie Mavens blog, this week you have an Adam Wingard Spotlight, piece on horror musicals, underrated movies, ? Secret Life of the American Teenager, and the Lights, Camera, Album for Plastic Hearts. And again, just over at bmovies.blog, and that will be in the description box below. So next up, we have our Bite Size Sunday, which is just a little tiny mini review of something I've been watching that I want to talk about, but I don't think I have enough to say about it for a full piece. They live exclusively on our Instagram, which is just at bmovies channel, same as our YouTube. And you can find those over there every Sunday morning around 8 or 9 CST, somewhere in there. And so the hint for this week, which you can only get here on YouTube, we don't put the hints anywhere else, is Broad City, but in space. So I'm excited to talk about. I really enjoyed this series a lot. I hope it gets a second season. I'm nervous it's not going to, but I'll see y'all over on Instagram on Sunday to talk about it. So I think with all the housekeeping out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this week's deep dive, which is going to be on Lights, Camera, Albums, Miley Cyrus's Plastic Hearts. So if you are unfamiliar with this series, in Lights, Camera, Albums, what I do is I take an album and I go track by track and pair each track with a movie. Sometimes it's very straightforward, sometimes it's tongue-in-cheek, sometimes it's a just know this is how my brain works situation. But first up, we have WTF Do I Know as Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. And I think that this is fun because I don't see this from Lola's perspective or Ella's perspective. I see this from Stu Wolf's perspective. And I particularly see it from Stu Wolf's perspective after Lola and Ella meet him at the party and find out that he's like not this character that Lola has created in her mind. And so she's just like conjured up this image of a man that doesn't exist. And, he's in the throes of addiction. He is an egotistical a-hole. And so I could see him singing it. And the line that I reference in the piece is, because I couldn't be someone's hero, you want an apology, not from me. And so I just immediately thought of Stu Wolf from Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. And speaking of another kind of like toxic character, I have Plastic Hearts as Get Him to the Greek. And I say this in the piece too. I want to give a disclaimer that unfortunately there are a lot of terrible men in this movie. Unfortunately, it's a very funny movie, but alas, we've learned that a lot of these men are horrible. So just keep that in mind. But I digress. So Aldous Snow, who was also in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, because Get Him to the Greek is a spinoff of Forgetting Sarah Marshall. it's clear that, like, he is so desperate for connection, he's so unhappy, and he's trying to fill the void with, like, all of these various vices that we learn about throughout the film. And Aaron, who, I'm not going to say who plays either one of them, because I don't think they deserve to be mentioned, but Aaron, he's almost like Aldous Snow's glimpse into a normal life outside of this celebrity atmosphere. And so with lyrics like, I just want to feel, I think that this would be sung from Aldous Snow's perspective, because again, there's a lot of celebrity commentary on this album, and so that's how I made that connection. Next up, we have Angels Like You as Casablanca, and I think that this could come from either Rick or Elsa's perspective, or it could be a duet, because Elsa sees Rick as this man that she'll always love, and, like, you know, if you've seen Casablanca, you know that she thinks he's going to run away with her, but Rick sees Elsa as this one who got away, but he knows that they can't be together. And I just really think that it would work really well in this movie, but please don't remake Casablanca. I feel like that is an untouchable movie. Thank you. So then we have Prisoner featuring Dua Lipa as My Best Friend's Wedding. And this is one of those pairings that I need you to suspend your belief on. I give a big disclaimer at the top of the piece, like, just take this walk with me. So, if you are not familiar with My Best Friend's Wedding, Jules realizes she's in love with her best friend. It's Julia Roberts and Dermot Mulroney. And so she gets in her head that they're supposed to be together, even though he's engaged. And it's days away from his wedding. And so it's toxic. But I think I take it from the perspective of that in Jules's mind, she's been imprisoned by these feelings for Michael, and they've always had a very special connection. It's obvious. And she sees these feelings as opposed to, like, something she could act on as something she should act on. And she just, like, can't get him off her mind. And a part of her also blames Michael, because I think in a way she thinks, like, he's led her on. And so I just think that these two work really well together. So next up you have Gimme What I Want is Ginger Snaps. And another thing about this album to me, there's, like, a lot of werewolf, vampire-y vibes. And there's a lot of mentions of being nocturnal and things like that, and call it me being a horror fan, call it purposeful writing. But when I heard Gimme What I Want, I immediately thought of, like lycanthropes. Like, that's just where my brain went. And so when you mix in, like, all of the symbolism and just, like, the werewolfness of Ginger Snaps, it very much aligns with Gimme What I Want. I don't get into it because I'm like, this is a movie about puberty and teenagers, but you get the idea of, like, there's a very similar mentality. So next up we have Nightcrawling featuring Billy Idol as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I think for this one, there are a couple different perspectives. And so I think it would be cool if this was, like, a full ensemble song. And to me, this is another one where I was like, this screams vampires, Miley. Like a lot of this, like, there's, like, a lot of, just that type of imagery to me. And one of the lyrics, it's like, night crawling, sky falling, gotta listen when the devil's calling, can't shake it, I'll taste it, when it's yelling out my name, I chase it. And to me, you could have Buffy singing this against the numerous hordes of vampires to show the parallels between her mentality of slaying versus, like, the vampire's dastardly deeds. I just think that they work really well together, and we know that Buffy works as a musical because of Once More with Feeling, which I will defend that to the very end. That's one of my favorite episodes of Buffy. Sorry to those who are anti-musical aspects of Buffy. Hello, sorry everyone, I got a package. Okay, so moving on. Sorry about that. Midnight Sky is Bit. I love the song Midnight Sky. I can't tell you how many times I listened to it on repeat when it came out. I still listen to it regularly. I love this song. Moving on. This is, like I said about Buffy, it's another song. It has this, like, just vampire energy to it. And so I think about Laurel in Bid, about how she's seduced into being a vampire after meeting Izzy, and they're at Duke's club. And I can just see the song playing in the club as like Izzy and Duke set their sights on Laurel. And also, if you've not seen Bid, it's wonderful. It's queer. It's just wonderful. So next up, we have High as Rachel getting married. I did put some trigger warnings and content warnings in the piece as well for addiction, grief, loss, drunk driving, fatal car crashes, anything in that vein. So this, if any of those are triggers for you, I wouldn't recommend this movie. But Rachel Getting Married is a movie, it's a movie I watched as a teenager, and even though it is an indie drama, I still recognized how good it was like at that age. And to fully understand why I paired these two together is take any of the eschewal components out and just picture like Kim, who's played by Anne Hathaway, like singing this when she's talking about her dead brother, because she's responsible for him being unalived and their sister hasn't fully forgiven her. And Miley and Kim are on the same level about missing someone so terribly. And while Miley is more than likely talking about the feeling of being high, as opposed to like any of the vices that Kim's turning to, their mental states in this moment are very similar, and that's why I paired those two. I paired Hate Me with Walk the Line because, again, addiction was another thing that I personally took away from this album. And, you know, Johnny Cash, it's no secret that he and June Carter's relationship started when he was still married. And, you know, he detoxed with her, and their relationship was very tumultuous. And I just thought of their relationship and of that movie. Next up, we have Bad Karma featuring Joan Jett as Bound. So, as a joke to me, like, you could not tell me, like, baby Bailey, especially, like, baby gay Bailey, that she would once be writing a piece where I got to pair a Miley Cyrus song with Bound that she sings with Joan Jett. Like, come on. And so I think that I could see Violet singing this as she, like, schemes to sneak out to meet Corky, who, like, for those who don't know, it's Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly. And if Bound ever became a musical, I think this would be a great duet. And also, like, Bound the musical, where is it? I need it. Next up, this was one of the first songs I paired, which is Never Be Me is Rent. And in the piece I joked, I'm like, Never Be Me is Take Me or Leave Me for people who were in the fine arts as kids and are now in their 30s. I was in marching band from 6th grade through 12th grade. Like, I can tell you that I said what I said. And this song screams Maureen through and through. She's like this very strong personality type. She's not very monogamous. And she wants Joanne to know exactly what she's getting into. And if they ever, like, revamped Rent and, like, put modern songs on it, it would be a shame if Never Be Me didn't replace Take Me or Leave Me. And then last up, we have Golden G-String as Hustlers. And I know that this one, it may seem a little too on the nose, but I didn't pair it on the title alone. To me, Golden G-String is, like, all about embracing, like, your sexuality and reclaiming your power as a woman. And I know that in Hustlers, there's also, like, some problematic components to it. But there's still this aspect of, like, Ramona and Destiny and their whole group trying to overcome these setbacks that life has thrown at them while getting back at some of the men who just, you know, like, objectify women. And again, like, I don't condone the crimes they committed, but I think that it's easy to see the parallels. And so that will do us for our deep dive. So let's go ahead and hop into our special features section. So this is just where we talk about updates on the analog horror series and horror ARGs that we like. Just content that I want to talk about it, but I haven't written a piece about it yet. Everything in that vein, and it's just a perk of subscribing to our YouTube channel. So I do want to say something up top. I know that we have covered the Mandela catalog before. Moving forward, based on the allegations, I don't feel comfortable covering it on this channel moving forward. So I just wanted to give a heads up because I know that there are some teasers up. I just don't feel comfortable covering it. So I'm sure if you want to watch it or whatever, that is your decision. But I just wanted to say that up top because I know that I've talked about it here on YouTube, and I've talked about it before, both for Hyperreal and for B Movies. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer up top, as I've seen that the teaser's up, but just I don't feel good covering that content right now. So to start us off in the special features section, we have a new video from Rapid Eyes. It's only a minute long, but I think it says a lot. So we have a clock, and it looks like one of those clocks you would see in like your classroom with the black plastic clock. And we watch as the minute hand, it's at 2:59, and we're watching as a minute passes for it to go to 3. Halfway through the video, the screen starts changing to red and pink. It goes between the two. And this happens several times before we get a close-up on the clock as it strikes 3. And to me, we can interpret that the red lights is Red Eyes, and then the pink light is either radio and or the orb, because we learned in the last video from the radio mimic that the orb weakens their power. Either way, I'm very excited. I think something big's coming, and I'm very excited. So next up, I want to talk about, so we know I'm a big Smosh fan. That's not a big secret. I don't try to hide it. And the past 2 sketches that have come out on the Smosh main channel have been these true crime parody sketches that I think are hilarious. And I am talking about, in particular, Grimace, Where Is He Now? And I Joined Jared Leto's Cult. And I watch a lot of true crime. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. And I think that there are so many delightful Easter eggs. In the Grimace video, pay attention who the director on Grimace's music video is. And they've tackled everything from the Jinx to Love Has Won. Also, Ian, I'm sure you will never see this, but you are so Buffalo Bill-coded as Jared Leto, and it made me laugh so hard. I'm so glad that Ian and Anthony they bought Smosh back, they're back to making content together, and it just, sketches like these, and like the ones they've been releasing, just really show that Smosh is growing with their audience. And it warms my little millennial heart. Like, as someone who grew up watching y'all in high school, because I was born in 92, so like I was right at that age when in like the height of YouTube, because I was in high school from 06 to 2010. And if y'all could please, if you ever see this, please do the best car ever on Flashback with Smosh, because it's one of my favorite Smosh videos ever. That and the Stranded video, they are 2 of my favorites, but just best car ever. I had the little like GIFs on my MySpace page of it. I quoted it all the time. Please do the best car ever. I need it. So I will link those. I will link the Rapid Eyes channel and the video below, and all of the videos and channels we talk about will be linked in the description box, so you can easily go and like please subscribe to their channels and watch their content. So next up, Alex Bale is back, baby. I don't want to ruin his Pixar Metaverse theory for you, because I won't be able to do it justice. And also, I think, we talk about content, but I feel kind of weird commenting on his commentary, if that makes sense. And so I'll link the video below. Even the Factor sponsorship in it is so good. That spot is so hysterical. And if you're like me and you like to overanalyze every single piece of media that you watch, this one is for you. It's great. It's like 50 minutes long, and it's just so much fun. And so last up in special features, we have the second video for Cypress Beauty on Vintage 8's channel has dropped exactly 7 days later, which, like, I think Vintage 8, I think spacing these out as weekly visits, brilliant. I think that's so good. So in this one, Dr. Alexis Lee, who we became familiar with in the first one, is back to tell us about the second step in our treatment. And apparently this one smarts something fierce. Dr. Lee also tells us that our blood is going to be drawn and tries to say it's like for standard reasons, which I don't believe in the least. If you've watched anything on Vintage H's channel, no. This is not being done for altruistic reasons. And then we find out we're going to be given injections. Which, again, all of this apparently does not feel very great. And then Dr. Lee gives us our big reveal, which is we're going to bathe in the water from Kate's Crossing, which, is the contaminated water that had the tangy virus that we've known about. We know that it is transmitted through liquid. We know that water is super contaminated. So yes, that water. And then we're also getting more supplements to get the toxins out of our system. Great. And then we're also reminded yet again that all of the money from Cypress Beauty is going to like restoring the coastal lands of Louisiana. aka they're wanting to like replenish this contaminated water, and it's not good, y'all. None of this is good. It's not good. But again, as always, Vintage 8 on the edge of my seat. Can't wait. I think this one is really cool. I said this last week, but it's giving me like big Cassandra Clem Zenith vibes, and I loved that whole thing. So I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm very excited. And as always, I say this, but this whole universe you've created is just so cool. So thank you, Vintage 8, for sharing all of this work with us. So next up and lastly, we have our subtitles for the week, which are just little snippets of news from around the internet. And I actually have a couple of updates from my script from stuff that's just been announced today. So first up, The Bear has been quietly renewed for season 4. So we will be getting a 3rd season in June, and then it has already been renewed for season 4. 6 new episodes of Black Mirror are on the way in 2025. Yorgos Lanthimos has announced another movie called Kind of Kindness that will be out in June, which is crazy. We're already getting another Yorgos Lanthimos movie. What else? A lot of news came out today, and I'm like, Salem's Lot has officially been announced as a straight-to-streamer release. It will be on HBO Max. I have not been able to see a date yet. I thought I saw something about April, but I couldn't find it anywhere else. So if you have seen the date, let me know, and once I have that date, I will obviously update all of you here. Miramax says it will be doing a Halloween TV series that will return to the roots of the franchise, aka like Halloween 78. So I am excited to see where that goes. Zach Galifianakis has been announced as a recurring character in Only Murders in the Building Season 4. My theory is, since they are adding so many people, I think this is going to be the last season or the penultimate season. That's my guess. I may be totally wrong. Don't hold me to that. I have no insider information. That's just my guess, because we're getting all these heavy hitters, and to me it feels like gearing up for a finale, or like we're getting ready for the penultimate season. And so yeah, that is what I have for you today. I have not watched the Crow trailer yet, so I will talk about that next week. Oh, I do have one more thing. So, I have seen that Kevin Williamson will direct Scream 7, and I've seen that Neve Campbell's coming back. And while I'm so torn on this one, y'all, I'm just going to be very honest, because I think it's awesome that Neve's coming back. Kevin Williamson, I don't think has directed since his movie, I can't say the first word of it, but the Miss Tingle movie. I don't think that's the last thing that he directed. And I think that's awesome. But at the same time, I'm bummed about how we got here because of what happened to Melissa Barrera. And so I have very mixed feelings on this. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. It's so bittersweet, because I do think it's cool that Kevin Williamson is directing, but again, I feel weird about it, so I don't know how I feel about it yet, but, you know, I obviously think Melissa Barrera was unjustly fired, and so we'll just kind of see how this goes. But that is for real all that I have for y'all now, so let me go ahead and do our regular outro. Sorry y'all, I'm so tired. I got no sleep last night. I got maybe a cumulative 2 hours of sleep, because again, those with periods, you understand, and I feel you. Please feel me. So be sure to follow us over on Instagram, just at bmovies channel, which is same as our YouTube. Feel free to follow me over on Instagram at Lisa_Frankenstein_. I'm doing, one of my New Year's resolutions was to do a movie a day challenge, so I'm doing a daily post about the movie that I'm watching, and I post about personal projects. I do a personal blog roundup on that Instagram. We also do one on the B Movies every Friday. Please follow Elliot on Instagram at reading.with.red. She has a bookstagram. It's awesome. We just cut off the B Movies book club, which is going to be Dark Matter. And yeah, that's all we have for there. So please be sure to subscribe if you aren't subscribed. Leave us a like if you feel so inclined, or leave us a comment below. It is all free, baby. And we are here every Friday at 2 p.m. CST. I love this time we have together. I hope you enjoy it too. So all that's left to do on that note is fade to black.